This past Sunday, at the halfway point of our Lenten journey, we had the special commemoration of the veneration of the precious and life-giving cross. And if you weren't able to be with us or to stream Father John's sermon from this past Sunday, I would very much encourage you to go back and find it. It'll be posted on our YouTube channel. And so I very much encourage you all to be edified by the words that Father gave us, especially talking about how we are to understand denying ourselves, taking up our cross, and following after Christ. And it's really great that after we have such beautiful and edifying words and such beautiful and edifying commemoration of the cross, that the Church doesn't then just remove the cross from our thoughts, but it actually leaves the cross in the center of the nave for the entirety of this week. So as you come to services this week, the cross will still be in the center of the nave, and we will be venerating that cross at the end of each of the services this week. And I would even encourage anyone who would like to come to the church and actually sit in the church and reflect on the centrality of the cross, Lord willing, not just in the nave, but it's in the center of the nave, so that we are all thinking about how it is the center and focus of all of our life. And really, that's what I want you to think about today, is ensuring that the cross is the center focus of our life, because so many other things come into the way to distract us. And sometimes it's not things, sometimes it's people come into our way to distract us, or we are distracted by our own thoughts and our own judgments about others. And that's why one of the things I loved about Father's sermon this week is that he challenged and gave a homework assignment to us to deny ourselves the pleasure of speaking ill of others. And I want to double down on that homework assignment and remind you all of it so that we can all attempt to do that as best as we can. And especially it's good for us to think about as we as a community begin to come together more and more. That our crowd has gotten larger, which is wonderful, and that we are looking ahead to Holy Week and Pascha, and Lord willing, having a more robust celebration of Holy Week and Pascha this year. And as we come together, it's going to be extraordinarily wonderful. But as we come together, there are people, and it will also be hard. But if we keep the cross as the center and focus of everything, we'll be able to put all of those things into their proper perspective. Because again, coming back together is going to be wonderful, but it also has the potential to be hard. And what do I mean by that? Well, as I've been reflecting on all of us coming back together, there's perhaps the reality that there are people that we are excited to see, but there also might be people that we aren't as excited to see. But that we are needing to remember that the most important thing is the cross. And the reality is that the community that the Lord brings about around us, and I used that expression in particular to say the community that the Lord brings to us, not necessarily the people that we choose to be part of our community, are there for us and for our salvation. And that if we are able to keep the cross as the center and focus of all things, it doesn't matter who else is there with us, but we all know that we can be centered and focused on the cross. And even if there are those that we are very much excited to see, but we haven't seen for a year, or haven't seen very often over the course of the year, we have to be very careful as we come together not to make assumptions about our relationship with them or what their experience over the last year might have been. All of us have endured and persevered through the pandemic in our own ways and in various ways, and all of that is okay. And so as we come back together, it's important to keep the cross as the center and focus of our lives and not to make assumptions about people's lives, but to hear them and to listen to them, and to encourage them, and have them encourage us and see where we are as well, because the reality is relationships change over the course of time. And so it's important for us to have the cross as the center and not other things to be there to distract us. And again, it's important for us to think and ponder upon the cross as we come back together for those specific reasons, because it's important for us to come back together. And it's wonderful for us to come back together, but it's also hard for us to come back together. But in the cross, ultimately, we see the picture of divine love, self-sacrificial love at its greatest level. And it's that love that we are called to emulate. And the best way to emulate it and to do it is to actually be around others where we are forced to do it. And by forced, I don't mean you're strong-armed into doing it, but that we have the opportunity to be able to see the needs of others, to sacrifice, to deny ourselves, to take up our cross and follow Christ, not only as individuals, but as a community together, because we need one another. And it's in our interactions with one another that we are able to best take up our cross and follow after Christ. So as we continue to ponder and think about the beautiful reality of our coming back together more and more after a long year, reflect on the fact that it's going to be wonderful, but it's also going to be hard, perhaps in ways that we have not yet thought of or ways that we don't yet understand. But if we keep the cross as the center and focus of all things, all of it, every single part of it, the beauty of it, the struggle of it, the joy of it, will all be for us and for our salvation. Blessed remainder of Lent.